safely back on the road, or even back beside the seaside. From MOTs to tyre fittings, there's no job too big or too small. Halfords, for life's journeys.
Call Nick Ferrari now. 0345 6060 973 LBC.
Get 6 washable, reusable coloured face coverings for under £20 from trustedppe.co.uk. Order before 4 p.m. weekdays for same-day dispatch.
Nissan Sunderland factory is building cars again, and we're ready to get Britain moving. That's why this summer selected Nissan models come with a 3-month payment holiday, plus free roadside assistance, all at only 0% APR representative. We've built the cars, we've built the offers. Now it's time to get you back in the driving seat. See how we can help you at nissan.co.uk/payment holiday. And together, let's move beyond. PCP Nissan Finance. Order and register by 30th September 2020. Participating dealers only. Nissan. Innovation that excites. How do we control coronavirus now? Listen to Steph. She's a bus driver.
Now that people are using public transport again, we really need to make sure that we keep each other safe. Passengers need to stay 2 metres apart. If that's not possible, make it at least 1 metre. I want to see everyone wearing face coverings over their mouth and nose, unless you've got a good reason not to. And when you get to where you're going, you need to wash your hands. We've still got to play our part.
Stay alert. Control the virus. Save lives.
We've got it at Selco. Selco is where the trade goes. This month at Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got a wide range of real deals. In August, 18mm.
In 300 yards at junction 3, take the A312 exit to Harrow, Hayes.
Even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com. 28 branches across Greater London. Visit selcobw.com for your nearest branch. We've got it at Selco.
Exit at junction 3.
That charge to 20%.
Say hello to summer data deals at Vodafone. Get the Samsung Galaxy S25G with double data.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the 3rd exit onto the Parkway, A312.
Just one of the amazing offers in the Vodafone summer data deals. Switch to the UK's best mobile data network, online or in store. Ready? Vodafone.
Ends 3rd of September. 24-month plans. 5G subject to coverage. RPI increased credit check terms and award verification apply. See vodafone.co.uk.
Nick Ferrari and Breakfast on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
20 after 7, Rudy, you'll be the first caller on the developments as regards the so-called migrant crossing crisis. Front pages of the newspapers, many of them, I tell you they'll be talking about recession tomorrow, but many of them on a story we're looking at later in this hour. Indeed, we have Schools Minister Nick Gibbon on that. This is the change now. The people are expecting, young people expecting their results tomorrow, can use their mock results, which actually seems to be quite a step forward when you think about it. For the Daily Telegraph, pressure though grows to scrap exam downgrades. For the Guardian, ministers in 11th hour climb down on A levels. For the Daily Mail, pick your own exam results. For the A-level results overhaul gives students the right to choose. And for the Times, pupils given second shot at success in A-levels. I think that's a bit demeaning, actually. I mean, just think of these poor kids. They've slaved away for these results. It's not their fault that COVID came around. Anything that can be done to help them, I think, has to be seen as a positive. As I say, Schools Minister with us later. Good news on the front page of the Metro, which we're also looking at later in the show. COVID deaths now the lowest since lockdown. We'll look at that. This, though, as I had to tell you, if you are listening and you are one of, or you hope to join the roughly 500,000 Brits who are currently in France, it is reported that within days, possibly by the end of the week, France will be added to the list of countries. This is only reported, so no need to ring your relatives now and get them scrambling for the ferries or the planes or whatever it might be, the train. But it is reported that France is perilously close to that happening. The Daily Mirror looked ahead to the figures we've already given you. 1 million jobs lost and worse to come. The Financial Times, and we're looking at this in our regular review of the world of finance in a little over 10 minutes time. Rishi Sunak considers delaying budget over fears of second wave. That's the second wave, obviously, of COVID-19. What does that leave me with? The Daily Express tell-all book reveals true depth of royal rift. This is this Finding Freedom book, which I think really has been pretty effectively gutted by the media to date. It doesn't really seem a lot new to me, although I'm not going to pretend I read it in detail. And The Sun, well, let me just say here, that a journalist I worked with many years, and I know he sometimes listens when he's in the country, but he might not be for all I know. Arthur Edwards is their royal photographer. He celebrates his 80th birthday, and he's still on the books at the Sun, and he's still going around with his, whatever it might be, Canon, whatever the cameras are, Nikon, that's what he used to use, Nikon.
Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway.
The thing about Arthur, let me say this, is he's a journalist first and a photographer second. I've always said that. In fact, I went on the first what's called foreign ever for the Sun.
Continue on the Parkway for 1 mile.
He's chasing a celebrity who got married in Serbia, and we're racing around Venice, and he is an absolute journo, as well as a first-class photographer. So if you're listening, or any of your family, I know your son is in the game as well. Happy birthday to you, Arthur. And the Sun, quite rightly, it's a big show business story. Congratulations to Ed Sheeran, as it is revealed that he and his wife, Jenny, are said to be expecting their first child. So bless them. Rudy in Kingswood. Rudy, we're going to make it unviolent across the channel. What does that mean to you? Good morning.
I think it's a good thing. Two things I want to point out. One is they're not forced onto those boats. They do it at their own volition. And the second thing is, right, they're not fleeing from war-torn countries or environments because they're already in France. They're already safe. So on that basis, their application should be denied.
But what if they've got family in London or Bradford or Birmingham?
Well, if they've got family in London and Brentwood, then they should apply in the legal way because then they've got a clear case.
I think it, but what is the legal way?
Well, the fact is they've got family already in England and they can put that in their application. That's more of a reason why they should be here. You know, and that's more of a reason why it should be considered in the normal way of applying through the embassy. Going to the British
How concerned does this be? Because the numbers, while of course they are of concern, given the amount of people who come into this country, they're very, very small, given the overall figure. Do you think a lot of energy is being spent here on something that isn't of that massive significance?
Well, it is significant because we're spending millions of pounds on them staying in hotels and so on. We've got our own people that are ex-army that are on the streets that don't get taken care of. You know.
It's difficult to argue with that. Thank you for that. Grateful for your input. Nigel in Brighton. Nigel, what do you say? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick, and I couldn't really agree more with your last thoughts for Kingswood, to be honest. But what I want to say is I think we missed the point when we talk about them being intercepted in the channel. The reality is that is the prize. That is what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to get picked up by the British authorities.
I don't know that I would have the bravery to get in a very small rubber dinghy with 10 or 12 or 14, 15 other souls with a very small horsepower engine and set out for what I think are the White Cliffs of Dover. Do you think that takes a degree of bravery?
Well, they've obviously, they're obviously very determined, and actually they've gone through some pretty tough conditions. I mean, I spend a lot of time in France, and the town of...
In a quarter of a mile, at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit and stay on the Parkway, A312.
Gangs of these people just wandering the streets and lurking on street corners, and they are sleeping really rough in France. You know, you see them in their little campsites around near the roundabout.
But I wonder why they don't seek or sign with the French authorities then and start.
Well, I can tell you very, very succinctly, and if you go to Paris, you can see exactly how they get treated by the French authorities when they seek asylum there. They're effectively given a tent and a soup kitchen, and that is their lifestyle. And I could take you to the area of Paris where they are being processed.
Look after yourself, Nigel. Thank you. A couple of emails. Ian in Burnham. Chucking money to the French will not cure the problem. They'll just keep asking for more. Anastasia in Swiss Cottage. Oh, this is after the lawyer who said that these people want to come to the United Kingdom.
Exit the roundabout onto the Parkway.
Anastasia in Swiss Cottage says...
Continue on A312 for 1.5 miles.
I think I could probably say the same of North Korea, actually. Should we go elsewhere in the world? And what appears to be a step forward, hailed as a new Sputnik. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said a locally developed vaccine for COVID has been given approval after less than 2 months of testing on humans. He says the vaccine has passed all required checks and added that his daughter had already been given it. But understandably, there's muttering and doubt in some circles. To Gordon Dugan, who's Professor of microbial pathogenesis at the University of Cambridge, is an expert on this field and has served on World Health Organization committees. My apologies for mixing up these are long words for me, Professor. I'm sure you understand. Thank you, sir. Do we believe Vladimir Putin?
Well, I can believe that he thinks he has has a vaccine ready to go, but the question really is how well validated has that vaccine been? Has it been tested carefully and thoroughly for its safety? Has it been tested carefully and thoroughly to test whether it works?
What needs to take place, in your view, Professor, what would need to take place now, and who should conduct those trials or tests?
Well, every country has a right to develop its own vaccines, but there's a series of steps that have been built up over the last century to test a vaccine, and they're called, there's a preclinical phase, which there's a lot of testing about the toxicity, the dangers of the vaccine, done even before it goes into humans, and that can take months and well established. And then there's what we call phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, where we increase the number of people vaccinated. And normally we wait until phase 3, where we actually prove the vaccine works. That would normally take at least a year to get to that stage.
Noting that I had issues even describing your job, what can you help me about the news that the Russian vaccine uses strains of the adenovirus? What is that?
So this is a trick where you take a protein or a component of, let's say, the COVID virus and put it onto another virus which doesn't cause an infection. It's called a vectored vaccine.
Right.
And it's the same approach that's been taken by Oxford. Whereas Oxford's got a really strong track record and pedigree for testing these vaccines. For example, they used it in the Ebola crisis. We don't know very little about the adenovirus system being used in Russia.
Grateful for your time this morning. Thanks for taking the call. Gordon Dugan is Professor of Microbial Pathogenesis, got it at the University of Cambridge, and an expert in this field. All right, coming up, we'll go back to what do you take by the use of the word unviable? Also, what do you take by the use of a fight between the Home Secretary and an ice cream manufacturer? I can't actually believe I'm having to say that, but it happens to be true. I would suggest good news for those A-level students. We're not there yet, and goodness knows it's going to be a big story, as I've been saying virtually all week. Actually, I've been saying for a few weeks, because I'll see this one coming. But that they can use their mock grades. That's surely going to help a lot of people, I would have thought. And, of course, full details, more details on the fact that Britain enters recession. You're listening to Breakfast. 7:30 is the time.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Roslyn Avenue.
Officially entered into recession for the first time in 11 years. Figures this morning from the Office for National Statistics show the economy shrank by a record 20.4% between April and June because of the coronavirus pandemic. GCSE and A-level students in England will be given the option to choose which grades they want.
Turn right onto Roslyn Avenue, then turn left onto Gladstone Avenue.
Change means if they're not happy with the marks predicted by their teachers, they can use mock results instead, or even sit the exams in the autumn. Police officers are using boats to rescue drivers stranded by floodwater on the M8 motorway in Scotland. The main route between Glasgow and Edinburgh has been closed because of heavy rain. In Falkirk, a house has reportedly been set on fire during thunderstorms. The weather, early thundery rain clearing northeast Scotland during the morning. Elsewhere, still hot with scattered thunderstorms developing during the afternoon. A high of 33 Celsius.
This is LBC. As shops open up again, how do we all stay safe? Fontaine runs a craft store.
We've made the shop COVID safe. If you can't keep 2 metres apart, make sure it's 1 metre.